I'm Brad with Linaire Marine, and this video is about installing a motor pod on a boat. This here is the pod, and behind me is the boat we'll be installing it on. The boat was originally powered by a Volvo gas stern drive. That has been removed and the hole in the transom has been filled. I have done videos on filling the holes before. You can search my channel for that. I've also done a video on pod designs. The motor being installed will be a Yamaha 350. I started the design by finding a CAD drawing of the motor online and inserting it into the drawing I have of the boat. I'm mainly looking to check the clearance of the swim grid in the tilted position and get a vertical placement. I have a predetermined design height from the keel of the boat to the cavitation plate of the motor. I place the motor on the pod in the lowest position in the drawing and then move the pod down a little. This gives us the ability to adjust the motor up or down from what we think is the optimal height. The Yamaha bracket has 6 mounting positions in 18.5 millimeter increments, which is about 0.73 inches. Mercury uses imperial measurements, so their spacing is 3/4 of an inch. Previous designs had the pod shorter, but then we had to take a notch out of the swim grid here and remove the bubble here, which had the motor inside. So with the motor gone, that's just an empty space. I decided to stretch the pod 4 inches for this installation to save time and money to not have to modify the swim grid. This does extend the overall length of the boat, but it's not a concern for where this boat will be moored. Once I had the design completed, I provided the design drawing to another shop that fabricated it because we don't weld here. In the top of the pod is an opening. This is used to access the bolts. We will use this hatch to seal the hole. It's made by Armstrong and they come in 6, 8, and 10-inch diameter in white or black. This one is 6 inches. It's important that the hatch provides a good seal because you don't want water to get in. It will add weight and affect the balance and performance of the boat. On the aft end we have our 4 holes to mount the motor. 2 are on the top, which are on the outside of the pod, and 2 on the bottom are inside. On the forward end we have 10 mounting holes to mount the pod to the transom. To mount the pod, first I'll place it in this cradle that we made many years ago. Prop it up with some wood and wedges to get it in the ballpark position. I'll measure it from side to the corners to center it. I'll use a straight edge along the bottom keel and measure up to the top of the pod to get my vertical position. I'll then use a level, measure it from the side of the pod to the swim grid to level it. Once I have my position, I'll mark 1 hole in the top middle of the transom. Take the pod away and drill this hole first. I'll start with a smaller bit, then finish with a 9/16. I use a square to help me get squared up with the drill. Once this hole is drilled, then we'll bolt it on with 1 bolt. Check the position of the pod again, then mark and drill the rest of the holes. The pod is dry fit just to make sure all the bolts go in smoothly. We're now ready to sand it for powder coating. We just picked it up from the powder coater and it's ready to go on. I put the sealant on the pod and now we're going to put it up onto this cradle and start putting the bolts in. There it is, it's all done. We used 2 people, of course, to put the bolts in, one on the outside, one on the inside to tighten it up. That concludes the installation of this pod. If you liked the video, please hit the like and subscribe button. We're now ready to put the motor on, but first we have a bunch of other projects we got to do on the boat, and I will be shooting some videos on that, so watch for those.